There was a time when the world was young, and the Titans ruled with wisdom, for a while. Cronus sat upon his throne of stone and stars, sickle in hand, the same blade that freed him from his father's tyranny, the same blade that carved his father from the cosmos. He should have put it down, but liberators rarely do. The Greeks called this the Golden Age. Mortals lived without toil, aging slowly, dying peacefully, as if falling asleep. The earth gave forth abundance, without need for cultivation. Justice prevailed. It was, by all accounts, a paradise, yet Cronus could not rest. I watched him pace his halls at night, jumping at whispers in the wind, seeing threats in every shadow. I know insomnia well. Cats are creatures of the night. Even we know the difference between wakeful presence and the torment of an exhausted mind that cannot stop spinning. He remembered what he did to gain his throne, and in that memory he saw his own future. The Pythagoreans understood, patterns repeat, what you do unto others inscribes itself into the mathematics of fate. Action and consequence move in spirals, not straight lines. Cronus felt this. He knew it in his bones. Rhea, his sister and consort, goddess of motherhood and flowing time, tried to soothe him. She spoke of the present moment, of the beauty they had created, of their love, but Cronus stopped living in the present. He lived in a future that had not yet arrived, a future he was certain would destroy him, and then the prophecy found him. Prophecies in Greek myth never arrive as comfort. They are weights, chains, predestinations spoken into being. The words came from Gaia, some say, or from the fates themselves. As you overthrew your father, so shall your child overthrow you. Simple, clear, inevitable. Now here is where I must ask you to pay attention, because this is where the tragedy becomes instructive. Prophecy in Greek thought is not simply prediction. It is pattern recognition. The gods and seers see the mathematics of behavior, the trajectory of character, the inevitable result of initial conditions. Cronus was violent toward his father. This violence inscribed itself into his lineage. His children would inherit this pattern. One would rise, just as he had risen. The prophecy was not a curse from outside. It was a mirror showing him what he had already set in motion, and Cronus, in his fear, made the only choice that would guarantee the prophecy's fulfillment. He decided to devour his children. The first was Hestia, goddess of the hearth, warmth, home, the sacred fire at the centre of all dwelling places. Rhea held her daughter for mere moments. Then Cronus took the infant from her arms and swallowed her whole. 5 times this horror repeated. 5 children, Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, consumed by their own father. Not killed, for gods cannot die, imprisoned in darkness, in acid, in the labyrinth of their father's body. I have witnessed much cruelty across the ages, wars, betrayals, the slow grinding of empires against the bones of the innocent. But there is something particularly grotesque about violence that wears the mask of protection. I do this to save myself, the tyrant says. I do this because I must, says the terrified father. It is prophesied, says the man who makes prophecy true by his own hand. Rhea had endured 5 times, 5 children stolen, 5 births transformed into funerals, but she was the goddess of flowing time, and time, given enough of it, erodes even mountains. She was done being a victim, the 6th, Dright sky. Lord of thunder yet to be, Rhea gave birth in secret, far from Cronus's halls. And as she held her son, the only child she would be allowed to raise, if only for moments, she made her choice. She found a stone. Not just any stone. It had to be the right weight, right size. She wrapped it in swaddling, as if it were the most precious thing in the world, and she gave it to the nymphs to deliver to Cronus. The true Zeus, she hid, gave him to the mountain nymphs and the Curetes, warriors who danced and clashed their weapons whenever the infant cried, drowning out the sound that might lead Cronus to his hidden son. The earth protected what the sky would have destroyed. The mother outmaneuvered the father. The pattern bent, just slightly. And Cronus, so consumed by fear that he could not see clearly, so convinced of his own doom that he had stopped questioning, took the stone-wrapped bundle and swallowed it. Fear makes fools even the wisest. Had Cronus been present, truly present, he would have noticed the weight was wrong, the warmth absent, the life force missing, but he was not present. He was trapped in his own mind, in his own prophecy, in his own terror. So Cronus sat on his throne, believing himself safe at last, 6 children consumed, the prophecy thwarted. And on a mountain in Crete Zeus grew strong, angry, waiting. Stone in Cronus's belly would become the seed of his undoing, not in spite of the prophecy, but because of it. Every action he took to avoid his fate became the mechanism of its fulfillment. The Pythagoreans called this ananke, necessity, the mathematical certainty of consequences. So what have we witnessed? A father's love twisted into monstrosity, a mother's cunning triumph over tyranny, a prophecy's cruel inevitability. All of these, none of these. Let me offer you the Pythagorean lens. Cronus was given a gift, a prophecy that showed him the trajectory of his actions. He could have chosen differently. He could have broken the cycle of violence, raised his children in love rather than fear, transformed pattern, but he could not see beyond his fear, and so fear became his only reality. Fear decided his actions. Fear created the very future he dreaded. You have been given prophecies too, perhaps not from gods or seers, but from your own experience. I will fail, as I have failed before. I will be abandoned, as I have been abandoned. I will become my parents, repeating their mistakes. I am not enough. I have never been enough. These prophecies you speak over your own life. And here is what Cronus teaches you. A prophecy is not fate, it is trajectory. And trajectory can be altered, not by fighting the prophecy, which only strengthens it, but by changing the initial conditions, by acting from presence rather than fear, by choosing the difficult path of transformation rather than the familiar path of self-protection. Rhea teaches something else. Sometimes breaking a pattern requires sacrifice, not the sacrifice of others, Cronus's error, but the sacrifice of your own comfort, your own safety, your own desire to control outcomes. She gave up her child to save him. She endured alone so he could grow strong. She allowed the uncertainty of separation so that possibility could survive. And Zeus teaches a third lesson. The pattern will complete itself. The sun will rise. The old order will fall, not because it is cursed, but because it is time. The Pythagoreans understood. The universe moves in seasons. What Cronus could not grasp was that this is not a tragedy. It is design. The old must make way for the new. The parent must release the child. The king must eventually yield the throne. Resisting this is like resisting sunrise, all the turning of years. So I ask you, seeker on your own journey, what prophecy has fear spoken over your life? What are you swallowing, consuming, controlling, imprisoning, to protect yourself from change? What must you surrender, truly surrender, so that new life can emerge? And one more question, perhaps the most important. If you knew that the pattern would complete itself regardless of your resistance, how would you choose to move through it? With the dignity of presence, or the desperation of fear? Zeus is growing strong now, and in Cronus's belly, 5 gods, and 1 stone wait in darkness, conscious, patient, planning. The stone will be the key. Cronus swallowed his own undoing, and did not even know it. Irony is one of the universe's favorite teaching tools. Soon, Zeus will return. There will be war, the Pythonomachy, 10 years of cosmic battle. And Cronus will learn what all tyrants eventually learn. You cannot swallow the future. You can only postpone meeting it. But that is a story for next time. I will be there, of course, in the margins, in the shadows, watching what even gods cannot bear to see, until the prophecy finds us again.